I've, you know, come to terms with that little moment of nearly existential confusion. Alright, okay. So, I am in the security office.
Yeah, we've managed to start.
I've now made my first choice in the game, and that is move into the security office. Okay, great. So the me character, who might be a character, or might not, still undetermined.
Maybe, yes.
But, you know, has moved to the security office. Okay, so while I'm there, I have this conversation with these two characters, and during that conversation, with each of them, there is 2 points where I can make a choice of my dialogue. Okay, so wait, should I be doing that on a card or something?
Yes, you should.
Why does this say 4:30 a.m.? It's not my handwriting. That's my handwriting. It says it's a trap. But let's just, alright, okay. So, let me see. Does this work on an index card? I can just treat it like the menu.
Yeah.
Alright, so the character says something. Who are these people? Orange and, okay. So purple says something sarcastic.
Oh.
And then where's my green? So that I know it's me.
Do you hate it when people ask you if you're being sarcastic when you're being sarcastic, and you feel like saying sarcastically no?
No, yeah. I have been shocked recently with all the people on the internet who don't understand what sarcasm is. Like, someone's just got a really mean sense of humor, and everyone's like, it's fine, they're just being sarcastic. And I'm like, that's not sarcasm.
And who was it just saying, isn't it ironic? And then every
single
was
example.
Not,
yeah. Who was it?
I don't remember.
I want to say Alanis Morissette.
I want to say the same.
So let's assume that we're right.
I'm going to stick it out there and guess.
Okay, so Purple says something sarcastic, and I have 3 options. And my options are something also sarcastic.
Or?
Something honest.
Mm-hmm.
Or something that is very clever. Those are my options.
So, sarcastic, I like your hair. Honest, I don't like your hair.
Yeah.
Clever, that's very, very nice hair.
Yeah, that sort of a thing. Alright. And because of what we know about purple, do I put this here? Because in my head, I would be putting it here. So up there, it's just, I have written, you know, they like these things and they dislike these things. But I don't know whether to couch the point change value in the
We're probably getting ahead
options.
of ourselves a little bit, but...
Alright, but I will note for myself.
We can work these things out as we go.
Yeah, I will note for myself that would be a +2 and that would be +1, I think. Because he really likes people who are sarcastic.
He's indifferent to honest.
Yeah, but he kind of likes people who are clever. Alright, so there's a conversation example right there. And there are 2 points at which you do that. Ha! Boom. There's a conversation we're having.
Yes, but remember, this is not an
not an object.
Not an object.
Alright.
It's an action.
I should put action so I remember that it's not an object. Okay. Is the menu an object?
Yeah, but...
Okay, right.
But probably, with the game that we're at...
So the menu is an object, the dialogue that they give is an object,
probably have
objects, but it's very nitty-gritty.
We probably would write an object menu,
right.
And the menu is has the ability to... So all of these things can create and use menus. But you use them on the fly and you throw them away.
Yeah.
And
okay, right.
So you go, give me a menu, and then you go, this menu is gonna have 5 options.
Okay, so the menu itself, it is an object, but it's not like a class of object the way the characters are.
No, it is.
Oh, it is?
Because it owns and does.
Okay.
So there is an object menu, and it owns properties like how many it's got and what they are, and then it does things like write them to the screen.
Right, okay.
I mean, you might not do it this way, but that's absolutely you could.
Right.
And I think maybe that'll even work because you just go, all right, I'm going to constantly want to write things out of the screen, and what I want to do is I want to write out 1 to N options, or probably 2 to N, because if it's a menu, there's no point in only having one, at menus by definition. But so then you just have this thing, and so in that object, it will write on the screen what you want, and so you create a menu, and then you give it a list of the questions, whether it retrieves them from a file or whatever, and it will then write 1, sarcastic, 2, honest, 3, clever.
Right.
And then it'll say, select, input your choice or select your choice.
Yeah.
And you go, 3, enter.
Right.
And then what it does is it comes back and it says, of the options that were given, the selected object, the selected item was honest. And then that goes back to wherever and to the location or wherever, and that then deals with the score.
Okay. Would the character deal with the score?
Well, yeah. Then what you do is
because they're keeping the tally.
So
right?
you ask the question, and when it comes back, the answer, your answer, is then given to the purple character.
So I come in,
and then the purple
character.
Based on that. So the character knows these. The purple doesn't. I mean, purple knows. But see, this is what this is saying. You're having an action, and you are talking to purple.
Yeah.
And so you say to purple.
So purple says something sarcastic, and I reply something clever.
Purple puts out a question to you, and then you get offered the menu, and then you make your selection, and the answer is given to purple, and purple knows what to do.
So that goes back up to purple.
Yeah, and purple then
goes, oh, well, that's a
based on that.
+1.
That's a +1 or a minus, or whatever.
Cool.
So purple knows all about that.
Right. Great. And so then that happens a number of times. So let's say that you have a total of 3 points from talking to purple, because rather than running through this same sort of throwaway menu every time. And after talking to orange, I don't know, you were too honest and you're -2.
Yeah.
While talking to orange, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that happens. Then, after you finish talking to them, basically I have a little note here that says if you've gone through all the pre-prepped conversation points, then anytime you try to talk to them again, it just has a simple we're just getting ready for the mission thing, so that it kind of pushes you to go away. So then at that point, you have the option of going to the lab or the hangar. So I take me and I go to the lab. Boom. So I moved me to the lab. And then the same thing happens again, right?
Yeah.
It just uses the same system.
Yes. So we have an algorithm starting to emerge.
Interesting. Okay.
So these locations play the same algorithm when you enter. It then has a set of ways that there will be characters in there, and then it'll ask you want to talk to pink or white.
Yeah.
So a menu comes up and says, do you want to talk to pink or white?
Right.
1, pink, 2, white.
Right.
And you go, 2, I want to talk to white.
Right.
And then because the characters, all of those, have got the ability to ask you a question, or you ask them a question, or when you come in the room, do the characters, when you enter the room, does that trigger a random one of the characters to ask you something?
Okay, all right.
Here's our algorithm emerging.
Right. So, in my mind, I enter here, and it triggers the characters introducing themselves, and then you have the option of who do you want to speak to, and you can choose.
Or you said that purple said something to you.
That's true. They did say something to me.
So they did said something to you.
They did said something to me.
So you can have it so that when you
could change that up depending on the scene too, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
And so you can have it so that you've got a method on your location that it says remove character or add character. And when you remove character, it just takes that information out, and that character is no longer in the list of characters in there.
Right.
And then when a character enters the room, there's
including me.
Add character, or me. Right. So if you add a character, if you decide that you want purple to move to the lab, then there's moving the other characters, and then you deal with what happens when that character comes in, but probably nothing. But then whenever you enter a room, then it triggers you. The method you call is enter room, right? And it's going to be you.
Right.
So it means that you come in and you, like you say, you don't have to. So probably you don't even need to be an object.
Right.
Maybe.
Oh.
I mean,
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But you see how when we're talking out, these things are starting to pull out and emerge.
Right.
Right. And so now there's a thing enter room, and so maybe your character is just a series of operations that and you enter location, right? And then when you enter location, the thing that happens when you enter location is it throws
like writing in first person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's effectively you throw a dice. So there's a random number generator that goes through, selects one of the characters randomly. And at first pass, you wouldn't say you're more likely to, but there might be a thing of you may bias the selection based on whether the person likes you or not. But there's some mechanism, whether it's a dice throw or it's a lighted dice or there's some sort of weighting system. It means that it triggers when you enter the room. It might trigger everyone to not talk to you because everyone.
They hate you.
If all characters have a negative score, then they won't. And you approach them, and if depending on how negative their score is, they may or may not answer you. And you have to work out from that. Oh, hang on, they're not even talking to me.
Right. Nice.
And so, and then you turn your back, and you're talking to this person, and then and someone's been murdered behind your back.
Right. Okay.
But there's 5 people in the room, and you don't ever go, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't play the wrong notes. And so as you move around me, by your selections, then every location has got a method which is enter. And when you call that, you go in and it runs the algorithm that happens when you, and then based on the scores of all the characters. So it is looking
more and more like as well, it's looking more and more like the scenes really are not objects. The scenes are what emerges from these triggered pieces of the
Now
algorithm.
you're starting to see
what you said immediately, I get it now. Kind of.
I've done this more times than you, so...
You were very patient waiting for me to understand.
If I didn't have any of these things and didn't get there before you, we're probably in the wrong places in this discussion. So, but now we're starting to see how this might emerge from this, aren't we?
So you come in here, you have your conversations, and you end up with however many points with each person. Say that we went down here as well. And I'm just trying to think.
So I am starting to see that we have and the scene is the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did say that a while back, didn't I?
Sorry, I I just
So
will have had
there
that
is
conversation.
every location,
Mm-hmm.
locations all have the same properties.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but there's going to be a list of characters, there's going to be a list of things that you can interact with.
Can you have like an empty property in terms of like a location has characters, but can it have characters and not have any at that time?
Yeah, you can have an empty list,
Nice.
which means that there's no one in
Which
the
would
room.
be very boring. It would be a very boring scene. You'd go in there and nothing.
But
would
that can
But
happen. You
it can
choose,
happen, right.
and so in the meantime, based on scores and things that you wait, and we have to cash out. This is where it's going to take some time.
Right.
But you cash out. How you decide when Black is going to move to the security office. That happens in the background. The computer's doing that. Mm-hmm. You don't know about that. So it means you get now it comes back to the menu and it says choose a location. Mm-hmm. And you go, I'm going to the hangar. And you walk in and it says, there's nobody in the hangar.
Yeah.
You go, oh,
okay.
Choose your location. But at least you know there's no one.
Yeah.
Hang on. Why is no one in the hangar? Pete's supposed to be in the hangar. Something's going on.
Yeah.
I wonder whether Pete's the murderer.
Okay. All right. Neat. Okay. So we've run this kind of piece of the algorithm, or things very similar to it, for each of these locations. We get here. In my notes, I just say once you've talked to everybody, then everyone gathers in the hangar for the whatever. In my notes, though, one person doesn't show up because they've been murdered.
Oh, okay. So it's so they don't show up. You don't come in and there's a body in the.
No, because you might already be in the hangar.
No, but if is it possible you could go into a location?
Well, my thinking
and you
was,
find a body, because that's what happens in Miss Marple.
It does happen in Miss Marple. I'm sure that would happen sometimes in the game, but also for this particular one, just in my head, I was like, one person doesn't show up and you go looking for them, and then you walk in and find the body. But either way, before whatever the murder scene is, before that happens, it has to decide what murder is going to happen. And this is why I think scenes were objects in my head. So it's going to be interesting what this does to the situation, because in my head I was like, it would be easier to have preset, murder things, like murder scenes, like,
Well,
this person was in the lab, so them being murdered in the lab.
I'm not thinking that's a scene.
Well, that's just
I'm thinking it's a murder.
Right, because, and that in my other list that I didn't write up, murder is a noun. Anyway, alright, everything's fine. But yeah, it just seems like rather than randomizing the person and then trying to mash them into
Funnily enough,
a murder scene, it would be easier to
in
have
an object-oriented word,
personalized murder scenes.
in the same way as we have a noun for love, and you give love and all the rest of which is an utter nonsense.